The DJI Osmo Mobile is a fantastic addition to smartphone filmmaking. Affiliate link in the video description. Hey, what's going on, everybody? My name is Matt Jarbo. This is the Mundane Matt channel, and what the fuck is up with social justice bullshit in comics? Right? First, it was Marvel. Oh God, Marvel. And it was killing them. It was hurting their sales. We know this because they've opted to stop telling those kind of stories from at least that kind of perspective, because people were like, fuck this shit, man. I'm not going to do this. I'm not going to invest in these stories that are talking down to the reader, which essentially is what they were doing, looking at the information, the online presence of a lot of the writers and how they dealt with any bit of criticism. But now it's jumped over to DC. I don't know why. DC tends to do really well with their comics still. People like the Rebirth side of things, but now they're doing this Batman White Knight shit, and it's cringy. The title is cringy as hell. So it says here that DC announcing a new Batman comic isn't exactly shocking now, but Batman White Knight features a pretty unique selling point. This upcoming miniseries will feature the Joker as a hero and Batman as the villain. Oh yeah, this isn't indicative of our society at all. Where, I don't know, they're trying to plague Antifa as the good guys. Antifa, if you don't know, are anti-fascists that act as fascists. It's hysterical to watch, horrible to watch play out in real life, because they're literally like burning cars and destroying businesses and looting Starbucks and ATMs and shit, you know, all while fighting against capitalism and fascism. They walk around with locks on chains and beat people when they're at protests, you know, fighting against fascism by shouting down opinions and beating people with opinions they don't like. Anti-fascism, everybody. Anyway, White Knight features Sean Gordon Murphy as both writer and artist, who will run 7 issues beginning in October. He also did Tokyo Ghost. I haven't seen it, but whatever. I mean, I will say real quick, the artwork is cool. I will give it credit. The artwork right there is pretty dope. I like this look and everything else. So the series opens with the Joker finally being cured of his madness and violent behavior. Now referring to himself as Jack, the reformed villain will set out righting the many wrongs of his past and trying to make Gotham City a better place. Part of that mission will involve ridding the city of illegal vigilantes like Batman. Yeah, you can already see where the fuck this is going. They're going to paint Batman as the bad guy, as if that hasn't been done multiple times. But in the city of Gotham, I would argue that pretty much everyone out there who unless this is taking, granted this is a 7-issue miniseries side story thing, but you have to think, for like all the years Batman's been around, people in Gotham would know that Batman is in fact the good guy. They know how crime-ridden the city is, how corrupt the city is, and they know that Batman is out there trying to fight the good fight. They know this. Like, they know this. So this story already starts off as a situation like, I don't know, man. I don't know. I don't really fucking buy it. Anyway, saying here, we know Joker's a genius, we know he's relentless, and we know he can play the crowd. So why not make him a politician? Why not strip away the psychosis, the thing that's holding him back, and let him challenge Batman unimpeded? And to make it even scarier, what if he did it legally and without breaking any rules so that Batman couldn't stop him? Now, that is an interesting concept. I'm not going to lie. Joker as a politician seems to make sense. But I'm also wondering how much of this is going to be interpreted as Trump. You know, I've already seen a couple people on Twitter like saying this is clearly an anti-Trump comic, which I don't agree with that at all. But going on to say, seeing Gotham for the first time with clear eyes, his psychosis now cured, he starts to understand the absurdity of vigilantism and how Batman's actions are only contributing to Gotham's endless crime cycle. Joker sets out to beat Batman by becoming the White Knight that Gotham really needs. Now, this particular article itself, it doesn't talk a bit about part of this. This will have to do with like the wage gap is a big part of this, like what led into this. I believe Black Lives Matter, other parts of what some have, you know, argued as inequalities in our society is going to be very big talking points for Batman White Knight. And this is all part of propaganda. So I'm a little bit concerned because this is where I'm a little bit torn. Because when I first read it, and even in the beginning of the video, I was like, social justice coming to Batman. But then I'm kind of like, you know, these videos of mine tend to be me thinking out loud as I go through the articles and everything. So what I'm wondering, how much of this is a take on the current side of things with Joker turning into an unpsychosis version of the left? Because that could be part of it. Because clearly, if you break this down to like left or right politics, what they're saying here is that Batman is the hardline right-wing extremist that's just trying to kick out all Muslims until we figure out what the hell's going on. That's essentially what they're trying to say. Whereas the Joker on this side is basically like we need to fight fight against racial inequality. We need to fight against the wage gap. We need to fight against all of these social issues that are oftentimes used as political talking points and that are so grossly misrepresented and weaponized for that fact that they're able to use propaganda and everything as a way to kind of like turn it around into their own, their own big narrative. And that's where the two might conflict. And we're seeing a lot of that play out. We are seeing a lot of that play out in the real world. So I'm wondering how much of it might be that, how much of it might be the other side of it. And I'm curious to know where they stand on this, because when I was sent the articles, people were like really upset about this. They're saying, oh, it's going on social justice. And at first I can see that. And I think it's probably going to go that way, to be honest with you. If I had to guess, I would say it's probably going to go that way. But at the same time, I'm curious to see if it's going to tilt it on its ear. If it tilts it on its ear, then we're going to be able to see a different take on these issues. But right now, given our current climate politically and with social narratives here in this country, I don't think that Sean Gordon Murphy is going to play that angle. I don't think he's going to do that. The idea here is that the Joker is going to be a politician, and the Joker is going to try to use propaganda to turn people of Gotham to his side and use it as a way to shut down vigilantes that they disagree with, right? And I'm not trying to argue that vigilantism in real life would work. I don't think that it would. But in comic books, it's very much meant to be standing up for the little guy, standing up against crime. And yes, you're looking at a figure who uses violence to beget violence as part of it. And the idea there, though, that Batman is still a contributing factor to the increased amount of corruption and violence in Gotham is an interesting way of looking at it. Because some people might argue that as being police side of it, police brutality leading in to the mistrust of police, therefore causing more people to act out against police and further escalating the situation. There are elements at play in this that I find to be, just by talking out loud about it, which is what I do, that could be interesting. Now, do I think it's going to go that path? I don't. If I'm being honest with myself and honest with you, I don't believe that they are going to that is going to go that way. I think that they could touch upon those issues, but they'll never go full bore. They'll never go full bore, shining a light on the way the left and Antifa have been, how those organizations have been acting for the last couple of years. Instead, they're going to turn it and they're going to shine it on Batman, and they're going to try to expose all the flaws of his mentality, of his ideology, and try to paint him as the villain in all of this. And so then people don't have a trust in themselves for wanting to stand up against what they perceive to be wrong, right? And it's a very odd dynamic, and I'll give it a read because I find it to be interesting. And when I do, I'll review it. We'll go through it, and we'll see if it's what I think it's going to be, or if it's something else entirely. But in the meantime, I do want to know your guys' thoughts on this. Do you think that it's going to play out well? Do you think it's going to be used as an attack on right-wing ideologies? Do you think it's going to be promoting like extreme leftist ideologies and it's going to be more socio-political bullshit? Or is it possible that it could actually be an interesting story? I am curious to know these things. Let me know in the comments below. My name is, of course, Matt Jarbo. This is the Mundane Matt channel. I will talk to you guys later. Have yourself a fantastic day, and peace out.